What's up, Philly? It's Tony Cutillo right here of the Tony Cutillo Show, and he's back. I felt like I should get an Eminem. Got it. Yes, he's back. Back again. Thompson's back. Tell a friend, right? Look, man, let's talk about it. Word official, right? Official. Rob Thompson back in 2026. Job is safe. Now I know we've heard this before, but again, look, I think we, as much as I don't agree, I completely disagree, and I'm going to give you why I disagree. But a lot of people listen, forward thinking, figure, you know what? It's not the manager's problem. It's not his fault. But again, if you're live checking in, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. As always, check out, just dropped a brand new video about the Seattle Mariners. Great, interesting story. Go check that out. It's in the playlist called Beyond the Bases, where I talk all things MLB. And we talk about what they've done out there from a trade market, 190 trades in 10 years. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy to me. But yeah, check it out as always. But listen, the topic at hand, here we go, is Rob Thompson is back for 2026 as your Phillies manager. And the question is, are you good with it? Are you good with it? I want to know. Again, Facebook, X, YouTube, whatever it is, check in. Facebook. If your comment doesn't come in, let me know. And I will get it up there right now. Should the Phillies have made a change? Now, there's a lot of different perspectives on this, and I want to get to that. Okay. So let's get these numbers up. Keep checking in, keep getting live. My man Adam checking in says we need change. Should have got rid of Topper, Kevin Long. I bet they let Schwarber walk too. I mean, listen, let's go down the line, man. Let's think about it. I've had so many conversations about this, and I love them. Right? I love the conversations. Let's keep it going. Let's keep the lines of communications open. We have so much to talk about just in the city of Philadelphia alone, right? But we talk about everything outside. What's going on? I mean, look at that win last night by the Seattle Mariners, right? I mean, there's a lot of different things to talk about. Baseball, I know my man Ricky checking in says the Padres having terrible all season. Their coach walks away. The thing about Thompson that I continue to say is it's not that I think he's a bad manager, man. Like I think he's a fantastic manager. I think he understands how to manage his players. I think he understands, even though I hate when he says it, the ebbs and flows of baseball, right? He understands all that. I think the problem with Topper at times when you need that person to get up in somebody's ass, at times when you need that person to get kicked out of a game, at times when you need that person to make a decision that's not solely based on what was on your menu or your scorecard or your analytics card. Okay. You need somebody to do it. And that's just not Topper. That's not who he is. Right. He's a very mild mannered manager. Okay. That's who he is. He learned from one of the best of Joe Torre for all the years he spent in the Yankees. That's who we learned from. We saw how Joe Torre managed the Yankees. Well, that's how Topper was taught to manage. And yes, 90 or 95% of the time, it's probably right. But the problem is that 90, the 95% of the time, you know what that is? That's the regular season. That's the regular season, right? That's the problem. I need a better Topper in the postseason. Now, we can get into his moves. We can get into all that, okay? But that's kind of like beating a dead drum, okay? And honestly, we're beating a dead drum because we're going to consistently talk about the same thing over and over again. And we can't revisit this history. We can't change it. It is what it is. We can disagree. We can talk about it. But the problem is it's not going to change, right? It's not going to change. Bruce checking in. What's up, Bruce? Bruce says Thompson probably walks away, retires after. Oh, I think that, Bruce, 100%. This is the last ride. This is the last ride for Topper. Okay? It's the last ride. And it's going to be interesting to me to see what the Phillies do for this last ride. What is he going to be walking into? How many loops of a roller coaster he's going to go through? Right? He's finally getting involved now to where he knows the swan song is here. But listen, the swan song of this core could be here, could be gone as well. So there's a lot to get into here. There's a lot. I think this is kind of the decision that we knew what was coming, right? But we just didn't want to believe it. And again, that's no disrespect to Rob. That's no disrespect to Topper at all. My point is, what's changing? Like, what's changing? Year in and year out, we buy into the same core. Year in and year out, we buy into the same ideology. Year in and year out, we buy into the same news conferences. We buy into the same schemes. We buy into the same lineup. We buy into everything's the same, the same, the same, the same. It's got to get a little different. That's the thing. It has to get a little different. Because if it doesn't get different, it's going to remain the same. So when we get into the postseason, what's going to be different? We get into the right, like we win 90, 95 games and just go out in the first round. Like, that's not the way it's supposed to be. Listen, you got to look at this and say, this is the perfect opportunity for them to let Kyle Schwarber walk. Now, that's not going to, listen, it is not going to be the popular opinion. I get it. It's not going to be the popular opinion. So, what I'm saying is, this is the best time that you have to let Schwarber walk. It is. It's the best time. And I say that because your pitching is so elite and you have the opportunity with guys like Luzardo and Sanchez that are on great contracts right now. Wheeler already signed. Nola, I still think they look to move Nola. I do. I think I'm going to go down in the flames for this, but I still think that they look to move Nola. I think in their mind, listen, you can say whatever you want about Dave Dombrowski. He's not dumb. Dombro is not dumb. Okay? Dombro gets it. Dombro gets it. And I'm going to tell you right now, I bet you that Dombro didn't want to sign Turner to that contract. I'm telling you, I think it was Middleton. I think it was Middleton wanted to give Bryce whatever he wanted. That was sign his best friend. That was a bring Trey Turner here, no matter what it cost. And Dombro said, okay, I'll do the deal. Okay? Dombro's a very smart baseball mind. We could sit here and talk about his moves. We could sit here and talk about he doesn't know this or he doesn't know that. We can talk about it all goddamn day long. It doesn't matter. This dude's a hell of a general manager. Okay? Been around baseball a long goddamn time. Has won everywhere he's been. The guy knows baseball. Okay? He knows baseball. And I think in his mind, he envisioned that they overpaid Aaron Nola. And again, I still think, in a way, it's a Money Middleton move. Money Middleton, want my goddamn trophy back, right? Middleton, I just want to win at all costs. Middleton, just get me the guy. Just pay the guy. He's been here. He's homegrown. We know who Aaron Nola is. Pay Aaron Nola. Even though Dombro was saying to himself, don't know, might not be a good move, but he did it anyway. However, the smart mind of Dave Dombrowski, in my opinion, okay, I'm not an expert. I'm just trying to break off the tea leaves here and try to foresee a little bit into the future, was that game where he pitched 2 innings and pitched lights out. Even though the setup was Nola, 2 innings to go to Ranger. We have seen, not a lot, because we criticize him, not a lot, but we have seen Topper at times, say, you know what? I'm gonna move with this guy another inning. I'm feeling it. At least give him another batter. Tell me I'm wrong when Dombrowski makes a call, okay? Because I know this shit happens in his mind, no way. He's 2 innings. If he's telling him, if he goes out there in 2 innings and he's that damn good, no matter what the plan is, we're sticking to it and we're bringing Ranger in, because that's enough of a sample size in a big game, in a big situation, for another team to possibly say, you know what? Give me some of Aaron Nola. I'm going to take on that contract. I'm going to give you some mid-level prospects, and I'm going to throw it out there. And guess what? And now that money inserts it right into Jesus Luzardo. Now that money inserts it right into a bigger bat other than Kyle Schwarber. I think that there's multiple ways to do this. I do. And I do think that Dombrowski is involved way more than people are thinking about. I do. I think he's involved way more than people are thinking about. Now, Adam says Joe Torre had the superstars to coach like that. He has, right? And he did. Okay, absolutely did. Again, Tony Cutillo, the Tony Cutillo Show. Make sure you like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Should the Phillies have made a change with Rob Thomson? If you're checking in X, YouTube, Facebook, wherever, drop it in. Make sure you like, subscribe at Tony Cutillo Show everywhere. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, X, you name it. Let's go. Let's keep the conversation going. Okay, let's keep the conversation going. My girl Lori checking in. Lori says, you are on the money, right? Lori, think about it, right? Am I wrong? Like, honestly, these are points. Listen, I own WIP. I own a 97.5, right? I own Sirius. Okay, I'm telling you, in my opinion, this is what I think. I'm not Ricky Patalico. Okay, I get it. I'm not sitting up on, whatever, post-game live for NBC Sports. I'm not. That's not me. However, don't discount my knowledge. Okay? Don't discount my thoughts, because I think if you're a smart man or a smart woman, you can break this down logically and see kind of what's going on here. Okay? You can see what's going on. And I do think, and here's the, let me say, before I do say, I do think, but let me ask you a question. Do you think it's a coincidence? Now, again, I will state this for the fact. I will continue to state this. I don't care what people think. I love Ruben Amaro Jr. I like Rube. I don't care what anybody says. I like Rube behind the mic. I like Rube on the podcast. I like Rube at Slug Ball. I like him on WIP. Listen, you cannot like the way he carries himself. You cannot like what he says. But the dude who was in the goddamn front office that somebody in her mom's basement is going to argue with. Are you serious? Dude, get a life. Really. This guy gave everything he could to try to give us another goddamn championship. He did everything. And I will go down with him any day of the week for trying. Okay? Remember 50 Cent. I'm a big hip hop guy. Get rich or die trying. Well, Rube, what did Rube do? Rube got traded or died trying. Okay? Because that's what Rube did. He tried to give us. And is it a coincidence with everything I talk about that Ruben comes out on the weekend show with another one of my faves in Devin Caney and says to Devin, I think one of the big contracts is going to be moved. And Devin said, really? What con? He said, I'm not going to say. I just think what my head's telling me is I think they're going to try to move one of those big contracts. Now, let's think about this. You're not moving Bryce Harper. There's 3 big contracts right now. 3. Okay? There's 3 of them. There's Trey Turner, there's Bryce Harper, and there's Aaron Nola. You're not moving Bryce Harper. You're not moving Trey Turner. Nobody's taking Trey Turner's contract. However, if there's a team out there that needs a pitcher, okay, that is willing to pay the price, and the Phillies are willing to take a little bit lesser of a return in order to admit that maybe they needed to go in a different direction, Aaron Nola is the guy. And what did Rube say? One of the big contracts. See, I'm telling you, I ain't on the inside. I don't know shit. Okay. All I do though is I don't scream on a microphone because I think it's cool. I don't just dig up clickbait so everybody follows my page. What I do is I think logically about the situations. And I think it's very, very easy to see that this scenario could be in the works. They have to get different. Things have to get interesting. And in order for this team to get different, one of those things had to be moved. Listen, Middleton's got all the money in the world. Middleton can spend money till the dogs come home. It doesn't matter. However, should he and will he? And I don't listen. I think that Middleton has been fantastic. Anybody to say that Middleton doesn't want to spend money, they're a moron. They're a complete idiot. They're not following along. They're just trying to be heard. That's it. They're just trying to be heard. John Middleton is doing everything he can to make this a championship caliber team. He can't go hit the ball. Okay. He can't go make the lineup. All he can do is he can give the money to a highly respected general manager and Dave Dombrowski to go make the moves. And that's what Dombro does. However, I still think that Middleton inserts himself in the conversation sometimes when listen, let's make no mistake about it. Can we rewind back to Bryce Harper? Can we rewind the clock, turn back the clock with that? Who was that stiff GM we had? Matt Klentak? Matt Klentak, stiff, complete stiff. Thank God Matt Klentak isn't here anymore, right? So we have Matt Klentak, who was afraid to sign Bryce Harper to the big deal, right? It was negotiating, it wasn't going well. What did Middleton do? Middleton said, screw this. This dude ain't going to get it done. I'm a hop in my private jet. I'm a fly out there. I'm going to close the goddamn deal. I'm going to give it to my GM who's supposed to close the deal and say, you know what? Sign the goddamn paper. We got Bryce Harper. Lock it up. This is what we want. That's the kind of owner he is. We may agree or disagree, okay, because it may work, it may not work. I don't know. But for you to say this guy is not trying to win, you're crazy. And I do think eventually there comes a point to where no matter how much money you have, it just seems ludicrous for you to keep spending it if you're getting no return, right? Think about it. Think about if you have a 10-year-old car and you're like, I don't want to get a car payment. I don't want to get a car payment. I don't want to get a car payment. And every year it costs you $3,000. And finally you're like, you know what? I just got to get a car payment, right? I just got to get a car because I'm just tired of spending $3,000 for repairs every single year. I'm not getting anything back. Well, what do you think he's saying sometimes? I'm spending 300, 600, 900, $1 billion, and I'm getting nothing in return. Now, what I will say though, the only thing that is in our favor is when Middleton turns around and looks at 45,000 strong on a Wednesday in May, okay, selling out Citizens Bank Park. But the other end of that is, listen, just go across to Xfinity Live. Just go across to Xfinity Live or whatever the hell it's called now. Okay. Go across to Xfinity Live, their Xfinity Live Center, mobile center, I should say, not the Wells Fargo, right? Just go over there and rewind a couple years when that place was getting sold out. And that place, I had season tickets at that time. I was there all the time. That place was hopping. And guess what? Eventually, the Sixers kept disappointing. And guess what happened? People stopped showing up. People stopped showing out. They finally said, look, I don't care, man. Again, I'm just done. I'm not investing anymore. I'm done with everything. I've had it. Now, will we get like that to the Phillies? I don't know. But what I'm saying is it's a possibility. If you're not careful, it's a goddamn good possibility that the fans will eventually stop turning out. We all miss it right now. We're all pissed off. Okay, we are. We're watching other baseball teams where we should be watching ours. I get it. I understand. Okay, I do. I get it. I understand it. But we have to start looking towards a little bit more towards the future and figure out what are these roles of these players? Where are they going to go? Right? We already know now. We already know now. The manager is back. Right? The manager is back. Are you happy? Are you mad? Do you think he deserved to come back? Let me know. Get with me in the comments. Very, very easy. My man Rich checking in. Middleton isn't afraid to spend money now. It just has to be exactly, Rich. 100%, 100%. And it's all about where you spend it, how you spend it, and there still has to be something that says what is going to be the return. Something still has to say what is going to be the return. And that's yes. So Lori says Topper should be back. Right? Lori says Topper should be back. She says yes, gives the big thumbs up. My man Rob, Rob, what's up, buddy? Robert checking in says, I'm okay with this on the expectation that we get a few new faces at bat that can come up with clutch in the postseason. I agree a little bit. I still wouldn't have brought him back. I would have not brought Rob Thomson back. I will continue to say it. And it's not because I don't like Topper. Okay, I just don't understand how many times we have to witness the same thing. Topper's not going to change, people. He's not going to change. Okay, so what you get with Topper, what you see is what you get. I mean, again, now one way to think of it is to get back to Robert's point is if we change the lineup up, if we change some of the approaches up, maybe with different players, the outcome would be different. And Lori, I understand. Topper makes the lineup up. Their job is to hit 100%. But please hear me out. It's their job to hit. Okay, it is. However, it's also Topper's job to adjust the lineup when they don't. It's also Topper's job. Listen, let's go play by play. Okay, let's go play by play. Let's think about this for a minute. Let's go play by play. Orion Kirkring has to make the play. It's his job to make the play, correct? Yes. Topper can't make the play. However, Topper can make the decision not to put Orion Kirkring in a position that he's not ready for. That's on Topper. Let's go back to the bunt. Was the bunt the right call? Maybe. I'm going to give you a maybe. I'm still going to say maybe, because again, people are going to say Nick Castellanos has to get to third base. Nick Castellanos has to take a better secondary lead. I get it. However, let's think about this. Rob Thomson has coached Nick Castellanos for how many years? I love Nick Castellanos. I'm a Casty guy. I love everything about the dude. Seriously. I will always stick up for Nick Castellanos. However, if you know Nick is the guy who says, I get paid to hit baseballs for a living, no college degree, I get paid to hit baseballs. Do you think that, again, do you think he's going to be the highly analytic guy on the base pass? Probably not. And that I'm not discounting. I'm just saying, probably not. So whose job is it to know that? Rob Thomson. Rob Thomson should know that. But again, he went with it anyway. See, these are the issues I have. Jesus Luzardo, no matter what the script was, Jesus Luzardo was mowing him down. Why take him out? That was on Rob Thomson. See, the problem I have with Topper is even if you change the players, it's going to be the same. It has not worked in the last 4 years. What is going to work differently? Robert says, reflecting back on the 22 season gives me hope that we can make it back. Topper has to make better decisions in the postseason too. Man, I'll tell you, I just don't, Rob. I don't know if he can do it. And again, I just think like all his decisions weren't bad. I'm not going to say that. Like I got in a conversation tonight. Let's go down. Let's think about this. As again, if you're live checking in, first time ever, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit that notification bell. Get over to YouTube if you can. Follow YouTube. Brianna says Phillies the 2026. Are you Brianna? Are you saying you're in for the Phillies in 2026? Are you in 2026? Right? Where again, yeah. So Robert says, just like the one scene in the movie, remember the Titans' attitude reflects. Oh, I like that. Attitude reflects leadership. Denzel, a good Denzel movie, baby. Right? A good Denzel. Here's Adam. Where the hell was Walker Buehler? Why sign him? Good question, Adam. I'm still wondering the same damn thing. Lori says that was the first bunt. Well, you know what? It's funny, but one of my good buddies called me today, and we were talking about this over and over again. We were talking about the bunt. And it's a guy who coaches baseball. This is a guy who's highly intelligent when it comes to the game. And he says the crazy thing is about the bunt, they don't work on bunting all year long. Now, all of a sudden, you want to play small ball. And the thing that pissed me off about that, okay, is afterwards in the press conference where Thomson says, I was playing for the tie. Let me just tell you something, guys, girls, everybody checking in. I'm going to be honest with you. If I ever, as a coach, and I've coached softball, I've coached soccer, I've coached basketball competitively. If I ever told my team, I just want to play for the tie, they would kick my ass off of the bench. Right there at that moment, I honestly said Topper's not my guy. I don't care if it was a scenario. I don't care what it was. You're in the goddamn playoffs. You're playing for your life. You're playing for your life. You have to split that goddamn series. You cannot let them go up 2-0. And you say, I was playing for the tie. Are you friggin' kidding me? What the hell kind of statement was that? Right there, I was turned off. I'm sorry. Topper turned me off when he said I was playing for the tie. I just don't understand it. I don't like, again, coaches, check in. If you're a coach, check in. Have you ever told your team we're playing for the tie? Have you ever told your team we're playing for the tie? Especially when you had no outs. Like, I wanted to lose my mind. I cannot believe, especially in Philadelphia, in Philly radio, that quote didn't blow up. And if it did, maybe I missed it because I don't always listen. But I could not believe that we had our coach say he was playing for the tie. So that bothered me a lot. Now, I want to get back again to Ruben Amaro Jr. because, like I said, I listen to Rube. I listen to Devin and Rube on the weekends. I am 100% fully transparent when I tell you who and who I don't listen to on the radio. Okay? Because I am not one of those people that say, "Oh, listen to nobody on the radio." Come on, man. Like, give me a break. We all at times put the dial on and listen to somebody. That's what we do. Okay? It's just what we do. I listen to Rube and Devin on the weekends. Right? I listen to both of them. I'm a very, very good admirer of the work that Devin Caney does, and I'm a very good admirer of what Ruben does. And what Ruben said, along with thinking about one of the big contracts that's moved, is he said, I think we may see some moves in the analytic department. Right? Now, I think that's curious. Now think about this. Let's go back. If you're just checking in now, you can rewind about 10 minutes ago. And what did I say I don't like about Topper? I said the thing I don't like about Topper is sometimes he's always going by that scorecard. Sometimes he's always going by that analytic card. And he never has a feel sometimes. Okay? He doesn't have a feel. This is what we said we were going to do. That's what we're going to do. Well, Rube might have hit the nail on the head when he said, maybe we see some of the analytic guys let go because what's going on? They're getting feeded this information. They're all being fed the analytical information. So again, if I'm a manager and I'm getting fed this information and maybe I have a feel and it doesn't look right, maybe I'm not doing it. But that's never going to be the Rob Thomson way. Never going to be the Rob Thomson way. Robert says, yeah, I say you're spot on, Bob. You say, yeah, I agree with that. Terrible take by Thomson. You play to win the game. Like, you play to win the game. How many people have ever said, I play to tie? I'm playing for the tie. Are you friggin' kidding me? Like in the NFL, they're going, listen, in the NFL, you imagine they say we're going to play for the tie? It's insane. My man Rich checking in says sometimes you got to go with your gut and say screw the analytics. Yes, Rich, 100%, man, 100%. This is the thing, man. I understand that baseball has got cute and baseball has continued to really say, you know what, we're going with analytics. It's going to be a big part of the game. I understand all that, okay, but I still think that you owe it to your team to have some type of gut instinct about possibly what could go on. You do. And not to mention if my pitcher is mowing somebody down or Brandon Marsh looks like complete dog shit at the plate, but let's keep throwing him out there. Right? I mean, I don't understand sometimes. I don't understand. I as a coach have multiple times have watched multiple players that have been my best players and said, man, they ain't got today. They ain't got today. What do we do? How do we adjust? And we start changing positions around a little bit, right? We start changing some schemes around a little bit. Like, where's that at, Rob? So that's my issue. That's why, for me, I understand it. I get it. I just don't agree with it. I would have moved on from Topper. And obviously, listen, if you move on for Topper and you're going to keep most of this core together, then you got to bring in a veteran guy, and it's got to be a guy like Bruce Bochy, and it's got to be a guy that is already has that winning DNA, and it's ready to take you over the top, right? It's like what did the Chiefs do, right? As soon as Andy Reid got let go by the Philadelphia Eagles, the Hunt family said, "Yo, you're hired. We're bringing Andy Reid." How'd that work out? How'd that work out? Right? I mean, let's be honest. How'd that work out? So again, I think that sometimes you get to a point that you can only go as far as you can. And there's got to be a cutoff to where you say as a team, as an organization, that, hey, Rob, we love you. But unfortunately, we can't continue to go down this rabbit hole. Up, players just didn't get it done. Up, we just didn't get it done again. Up, the ebbs and flows of baseball. Oh, they really pitch us well. I am so one of the biggest things that pisses me off. One of the biggest statements is he had a really good book today. Pitches were working, looking good. Oh, screw that. I'm so tired of hearing that. Like, if I went around the baseball, the only team I ever hear make excuses every single day is the Phillies with that. Like, I'm sorry. Like, listen, Ohtani pitches to other teams in baseball. Okay? He does. He pitches to other hitters. Okay? He does. Glass now pitches to other hitters. He does. It's just so ridiculous, that statement. I think I hate that statement more than anything. Yes, he's expected to do well. It's your job. It's your job to not be guessing up there at the plate and actually have a good at bat and try to make contact with the ball. Now, I'm not a professional baseball player. I get it. However, I can have an opinion. And I think my opinion's pretty good when it comes to that. Brooke says, yeah, we talked. Yeah, Adam says Gabe Kapler started analytics when he was baking in the sun. I think the coconut oil got to his brain. Listen, man, Gabe was all about analytics, right? All about analytics. I've never been a big analytic guy. Yeah, battle tested, ebbs and flows, right? Ebbs and flows of baseball. He's battled. I can't do it. Rich, 100% spot on. Some point, you need a fresh voice with this team and get a new dynamic in here, man. It's spot on. I mean, you just gotta you gotta eventually do it. Okay, you just have to eventually do it at some point. And I think 4 years is enough. I think 4 years is enough. And also you do have to remember, Rob was the voice as Joe Girardi's top bench coach too. Right. So you have to think back about that. You have to think back about that. We listen, we blame Joe Girardi, but again, I mean, what's changed? What's changed? You're almost like, here you go. And I don't know if I have any Flyers guys in here, but this is almost like the Flyers way, right? Keep bringing in the same guys with the same methodology, right? We just brought Taka back. Don't he have the same ideology? Don't he have the same thing that all the other coaches, like we've always talked about that. They bring in the coaches from the Flyers that all have the same concept over and over again. I'm not a hockey guy, just go by what I hear. And if that's the case, I feel like the Phillies in this situation could be doing the same thing. Robert says there's no juice in the locker room. When we were in a fight, Thomson needs to inject that into the energy in the fellas. Just totally dry. Bob, totally dry. Everything in that locker room was like dead to me anyway. Everything in that locker room. I didn't feel anything. I felt nothing. I mean, the most emotion that I think we got was when obviously we clinched, and you got it from JT when Topper asked JT how many more we got, whatever the hell it takes, Topper, right? That was like the most emotion that I heard. And I think it's telling too that the most emotion you heard from a player, which was JT Realmuto, was the most hurt that I heard from a player afterwards, and that was JT Realmuto. He was pissed. JT was pissed. I mean, I don't know. Go back. Listen, you watch Kyle Schwarber, visibly upset, visibly moved. That's a man who knows he's not coming back. Just my opinion. That's a man who knows he's not coming back. JT, a guy visibly pissed that nobody else did their job. Realmuto was visibly pissed that nobody else did their job. Because guess what? JT hit. JT did his job. He was pissed. He wants all about nothing, right? He wants all about nothing about free agency. He wants about nothing. He was pissed. He wasn't upset. He was pissed. And listen, that's why I want JT back. JT still got the fire. He does. JT's got the fire, bro. He's still got it. And I don't know if you saw this, but on the show the other night, my man Javon mentioned about Adley Rushman and, the catcher / DH from Baltimore. And he said, what do you think about Adley Rushman? And that's why I was like, listen, man, I would love to bring in Adley Rushman. I just dropped a video this morning on it, a little short on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok. But just for the specific fact, that wasn't of let's bring him in and let JT go. That was re-sign JT and bring in Adley Rushman. So you got two guys that are offensively fit that both can catch, both can DH. I think that prolongs JT a little bit. And I could tell at that interview that JT he still wants it, man. You know who really bothered me was Bryce. Out of everybody in the post game, the one that bothered me the most was Bryce. I thought I saw more transparency and more fight out of Trey Turner than I did out of Bryce Harper. And again, I'm not trying to read into anything. I love Bryce Harper, but you know, half of me says that Bryce was just totally checked out and totally pissed off because he just, he couldn't be Mr. October. And I continue to go back and go back and go back to Bryce Harper and just say that I still don't think he was physically 100% all year. I think that wrist was never right. I think technically he probably should have been shut down for the entire year. I don't think he should have ever came back. And I think somebody or even himself forced him to come back, and he did. And he knew in his mind he was never going to be 100%. I said it on this show that he was never going to be, he was never going to be 100%. And you could see it. You could see it. He was not the same guy. And I think the emotion, or I should say the emotion less Bryce Harper wasn't because Bryce Harper doesn't want to be here. I think it was because Bryce Harper was more mad at himself than anybody that he couldn't be the Bryce Harper of old. Like, we all think about that, right? We all think about that. Like, I think about it every day. I think about every year as I get older. I think about it every day. When's it going to be the point where I can't talk like this anymore? When's it going to be the point where I don't have the energy to work 10 jobs? Right? When's going to be the point? And I think sometimes, listen, I get like that. Like sometimes I'm watching something and I'm laying around going, man, do I really want to pop on the stream? I would never get like that. Right? But that's what happens. And then you have to fight through it. Right? You have to fight through it. And I get it. And I know Bryce is a fighter, but what I'm saying is I think what you're seeing in him is a high dose of disappointment. But he's his worst enemy. He's his biggest pusher. He's his biggest critic. So he's mad at himself. And you're just seeing it play out right in front of you, man. That's all. Bryce changed once he couldn't come back from injury, and his ego got to him because Schwarber was carrying the team. I mean, I know I mentioned a little bit about that, Adam, last night or a week ago about how a little bit of me says Bryce was a little jealous. Obviously in a good way. And again, this all comes back to who Bryce Harper is. This all comes back to Bryce Harper being his biggest critic, right? Jealous not because he didn't want Kyle Schwarber to succeed or carry the Phillies. Jealous because he was getting into his mind that maybe he just can't do it anymore. Like, think about that. When you get to a point in your life when you just think, I can't do it anymore. Just had another kid, right? He's trying to do everything. We saw a different Bryce Harper this year. We saw a very, very unemotional, very less passionate Bryce Harper. We did. We seen it come out every now and then, but even on the home run trots, even around the bases, even with the big plays, where was this, right? Where was the stare at Arcia? Where was that? Where was that Bryce Harper? Because we didn't have that Bryce Harper. We didn't have that at all. And say what you want, but that's a big piece of who we were and who we are. And when that's missing, that trickles down to the rest of the team, right? That trickles down to the rest of the team. Always, always, always trickle down. So again, there's a lot of questions with this team, man. There's just a lot of questions. And again, we're talking right here live on the Tony Cutillo Show. I am your host, Tony Cutillo. As always, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Follow at Tony Cutillo Show on all social formats: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, X, whatever the hell it is, right? Check it out. Comments, suggestions, you name it. But again, going forward, I think we could. The one thing that I always disagree with is I don't want to talk about the same thing over and over again, right? Meaning, Rob Thomson's back. Okay. I just gave my reasons on why I don't think he should be back. People in the comments talked about it. Now we move on. Now we move on to the players. Now we move on to who do we sign? Who do we try to trade? Who we bring it up? That's where it all comes down to. That's going to be the conversation, okay, for the next 6 to 12 weeks. Okay? That's going to be the conversation. And unfortunately, we're going to have to watch teams in the playoffs. That's not us. We're going to have to hear all the speculation about Kyle Schwarber and Ranger Suarez. We're going to hear it all. Okay? And again, unfortunately, we're just going to have to kind of ride with it until spring training starts and see where we're at. But I'll tell you what, man, just from a personal standpoint, it's going to be extremely hard for me to invest again because I didn't want to invest this year. I did not want to invest this year. I didn't. For me, it was a really tough sell because I was let down so hard. So hard. And I kept saying, I'm not buying in, man. It's the same team. It's the same team. It's the same offense. What are they going to do with the postseason? What are they going to do with the postseason? And everybody kept saying, oh, man, come on. This is a different team. It's a different team, different team. And I said it the other day. I'll say it again. I didn't buy in until late in the season. And now I'm pissed off that I did. I'm pissed off that I invested all that time for absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. All it did was get me pissed off. All it did was get me annoyed. I mean, the only thing I could say is it got me about 115 subscribers because I talked about it. So thank you to the Phillies for that. But besides that, it got me nothing, man. So if it got me nothing again, am I going to really go through this again next year? And if I'm saying it, how many other people are saying it? How many other people are saying it? A lot. A lot of people are going to continue to say the same thing. They are. And that's why I know, Lori, you said it'll never happen with the Phillies where people stop showing up and people stop supporting. I listen respectfully, I completely disagree. I do. I completely disagree. Am I saying there's gonna be a mass exodus? Oh, absolutely not. However, you're not getting 40,000 in May. It's not gonna do it. I'll tell you that right now. You're not gonna get 40,000 in June. I don't think so. I don't think so. I talked to multiple people. I've heard it over and over again where people are saying, I have this, 5, 10, $15,000 deposits in there that, the Phillies up the ticket prices again. They upped all the licenses and all that kind of stuff. And they want me to pay again for what? To watch the same thing unfold again? Again? That's the problem, man. That's the problem. It happens. People are human, right? When you break their spirit time in and time out, eventually they just give up, right? Eventually they give up. Rob says the last 3 years, here we go, let's put this up, of the Phillies being eliminated has been comparable to how the 93 season ended in Toronto, just reliving a nightmare. Next year has to be different. We deserve better, man. But man, Rob, we've been living a lot of freaking nightmares, man. God. We have been living a lot of nightmares in this town of Philadelphia. Man, I mean, this feels like, again, this feels like, to me, it feels like the Andy Reid era of the Eagles. I continue to say it, man. I'm gonna go down on it. This reminds me of NFC Championship, NFC Championship, NFC Championship. Loss, loss, loss. What finally takes them over the hump? New coach, right? New coach, new coaching staff. See, that's another thing. That's another thing. Now, granted, we hear all the time about Bobby Dickerson. We hear all the time about Kevin Long. I still, till this day, will say eventually it all runs its course, right? Eventually it all runs its course. And the reason why I say that is because no matter how good Bobby Dickerson is, no matter how good Kevin Long is, no matter how good Rob Thomson is, the one thing, you know what? Hold on. I'm gonna revamp this entire conversation. I want to give a huge tip of the hat to somebody who's not talked about enough. Who's not talked about enough. Can we get some love for Caleb Cotham? Can we get some love for Caleb Cotham? Seriously. I know he's got a bad mustache. I know he's young, right? Young hit coach. I wish I was that young and had a bad mustache, right? But no, in all seriousness, the one thing that has not changed is Caleb Cotham. And what again was elite in the playoffs? Start pitching. Again, starting pitching. Year in and year out, the starting pitching is not the problem. The problem is the bats. But we talk all the time about Kevin Long and Bobby Dickerson and Rob Thomson, but we never mention Caleb Cotham. When all the guy does is come in, does his job, reinvent some of these pitchers like Jesus Luzardo, and just gets these positive results. Yet we don't talk about him. So in my opinion, you have to change it all from the offensive side and the management of it. Management of it, it's got to be Topper, and defense and offense, it's got to be Dickerson, and it's got to be Kevin Long. No matter how good they are, man, it doesn't matter. Sometimes it falls on deaf ears. Sometimes you just have to make that kind of change. And again, nobody's talking about it. Nobody's bringing it up. Like, at the end of the day, Caleb Cotham is one of the biggest reasons on why some of those arms are so successful. Listen, Christopher Sanchez is downright deadly, right? Think about it. Downright deadly. Ranger Suarez, when he's on, hitting them so downright deadly. Jesus Luzardo, downright deadly. I mean, again, between him and JT, they had such a hold on that pitching staff. They did not deserve to lose. And it's a shame. But I just want to give some love to Caleb Cotham. Yes. Let's throw it up for Caleb, please, because he deserves some praise. So Robert says, good comparison about the Eagles with the NFC Championships or the modern day 76ers. Like, eventually everything runs its path. Everything runs its course. And you have to try to pivot and have a new path. It's very, very simple. It's very, very simple. So again, do you agree with Rob Thomson coming back? I do not. I think the consensus is that most people do, or most people are just like, what else were they going to do? And I hate that reaction. I do. I hate that reaction, but I get it, right? I do. I get it. I get the reaction. I understand it. I just hate it. I just hate it. I don't like it because it's a cop-out to me. It's a cop-out. Like, what are your real feelings? What do you really feel? How do you really feel about it? Maybe you just don't care, right? Maybe you just don't care. I don't know. All I know is a lot of things have to change. And until then, we're just going to be sitting here throwing stuff up at the wall. And we're just going to have to, if Topper's back and the rest of the squad is back and they bring this core back, and that means they re-sign Schwarber, they re-sign Realmuto, they bring everybody back and they run it back again, right? If they do that, we're just gonna have to wait and hope they don't collapse again. But let's remember something. Every other team gets better too. Other teams get better too. So there you have it. As always, like I said, make sure you like, subscribe, follow the channel. If you're on X, if you're on anywhere, follow the YouTube channel. Get over to the Tony Cutillo Show on YouTube. Follow the channel. It's what allows me to keep doing what I'm doing, right? Obviously, the alternative edge, bets powered by BetQL and Odd Shopper Tails, which is the plus money prop train. So all the information again is in the description. Again, I drop that alternative edge show twice a week. Okay. Blades and Fades, me and my son dropping some fantasy football talk. He's an aspiring barber and an aspiring fantasy football talker. So we're trying to put the two together, make him a brand, and get him some airtime. He's doing a great job. Okay. And most importantly, if you like podcasts, if you like youth sports, go check out Fighting for Overtime, the Fighting for Overtime podcast. I am extremely happy if you are local watching this right now or watch this on replay. I have the national acclaimed, highly highly winnable head coach of the Archbishop Wood girls basketball team, Mike McDonald, on tomorrow night. Now, obviously, it's not live; it's pre-recorded, and then it'll be out obviously on podcast. But I cannot wait. This dude, his resume speaks for itself, and I cannot wait to understand his techniques, how he sustains a winning culture on at a program, not only at a Catholic school, but one to where you talk about how things change from a recruiting level, when it comes to monetary commitments, when it comes to NIL, when it comes to attitudes and expectations. So I can't wait to break that down with Coach Mike McDonald tomorrow night. I don't think I've been as excited for any other interview I've ever done. So, but as always, I thank everybody for the support. Thank everybody for tuning in. As always, I love that more and more people are subscribing and checking in. I'm going to be honest, man. I said this before. A lot of people have been asking me, and they've been saying, like my buddy called me today, and my buddy was like, he cracks me up. He's like, dude, he's like, I see you're busy, man. Every time I look, you're doing something, or you're somewhere, and he said, man, what's going on? And I said, look, man, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be transparent here because that's the only way I know how to be. When I talk like this, I'm transparent. So whoever's still watching right now knows that and understands that. I've had my opportunities, and I've nailed every single one of them. I've had my opportunities, whether it be on, Philly radio, whether it be on national radio. I've had my opportunities, and I think I've nailed every single one of them. But I've also looked and watched and second guessed a lot of things, and didn't understand why. Why not me? Why not me? And I think that's just a human element, right? It's a human element to watch stuff and say, why not me? Not to say that person's inferior to me. No, it's just why not me? Listen, great for him, good for her. Not saying that, but why not me? And then I finally said to myself, after watching, I'm a big Gary Owen guy, the comedian. I love Gary Owen. So I watched one of Gary Owen's interviews, and I watched him get asked a question like, what happened all of a sudden, right? I had to remember, Gary Owen was always good, but he never got to that big point. He didn't have the Netflix show, didn't have the Showtime show. He was known, but he wasn't like Matt Rife known, right? I mean, that was the difference. He wasn't Matt Rife known. So the interviewer, and I forget what show it was on, said, well, what changed? What happened? And Gary Owen was straight up. Gary Owen said, listen, I looked, and again, just like I said, second guess myself. I start looking at specific shows and clips and reels, and I was saying, all right, that dude's funny. I like that, but I think I'm just as funny, if not funnier. Why not me? Why is Netflix not calling me? Why Showtime? This is what he was asking himself. So he finally said, the interviewer was like, okay, well then what happened? What got them to talk? And he said, YouTube. The guy said, YouTube. He goes, yeah. He said, listen, hear me out. He said, I always messed around with YouTube and I would post clips and have some fun, but I never really took it serious. He's like, and I start looking at some of the people that were taking it next level. And I looked at some of these people and said, wow, what has changed? What is different in these people? What are they doing differently that I'm not doing? What are they doing differently in the game that I'm not doing? And it was consistency. And he finally said, you know what? So what I did was, because he said, I'm not a tech guy. I went out and I got a YouTube guy. And I said, look, this is what I want you to do. I want you to drop content every single day. He said, I want to plaster my face everywhere. I want to plaster my face everywhere so everybody knows who Gary Owen is. That's what he said. So no stone unturned. So when you pop on, you're going to see Gary Owen. When you pop on, you're going to see Gary Owen. When you're going to pop over here, you're going to see Gary Owen. When you're going to pop out, you're going to see Gary Owen. He said, I did that for a year. And guess who called? The big market players. And guess what went viral? My YouTube page. And why? Because I stayed consistent. Another great one, because I listen, I watch a lot of stuff. I'm a big hip hop guy. Okay. I love the drink show, right? Drink Up with Nori. I love it. And the Drink Champions. And I remember him asking, I forget who it was. I don't know if it was Cameron. I don't know who it was, but he said something that really, really, really hit home for me. He said, consistency outweighs talent. And I was like, what? He said, consistency outweighs talent. And I started thinking about that for a moment. And I was like, wow, that's pretty deep. Because I started thinking, I am a pain in the ass when it comes to perfection. Like, and again, like I look at things and they piss me off. Meaning my own stuff. Like I want everything to be perfect. I want everything to be layered out. I want everything, right? And when you're like that, yes, it is good. However, it takes time. But it takes the time away from doing other things, which in turn takes time away from you actually creating more content and or recreating content that you already have and getting it on other platforms. So I thought about it. I was like, wow, maybe this dude's on to something, right? Maybe he's on to something. Maybe it's a so in a nutshell, what I said was I'm gonna be Gary Owen, right? I said, I'm gonna be Gary Owen. I'm gonna plaster my ugly fat mug everywhere. Okay. My chubby cheeks, my hats, my shirts, okay, my Philly accent, everything. I am gonna put it everywhere. And I'm until somebody calls and says, yo, man, where you been? That's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna do. Yes, you just Lori says, I don't give a you know what anymore. Just show up. And that's this person said, Lori. This person said, just show up. That's the first part, just showing up. So I look at that and go, you know what? God damn it, that's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna do. So every time you go on Instagram, you're gonna see my face pop up. Every time you go on TikTok, you're gonna see my face pop up. Every time you go on YouTube, you're gonna see my face pop up. And guess what? Here's the best part. It was right. It was right. You want to know why it was right? You want to know why it was right? Because the video that we did 3 days ago is now approaching 2,000 views organically, and I've had more engagement, and I've had more people hit me up on TikTok and Instagram than I've ever had before in my life. Why? Again, why? Because I finally said, screw it. Listen, I've been very open about the way I feel about the business. Very, very open. And I don't hold back. And unfortunately, it's probably hurt me in one aspect. And honestly, I'm too old to worry about it. I've gone down the road of towing the line. I've gone down the road of towing the company line. I'm not doing that anymore. Because you know where it's got me? It's got me nowhere. I'm gonna tell you something, and I'm gonna make memes. How's that? And not in a bad way. I just want to tell you a story. Let's do storytelling with Tony Cutillo right now. We're gonna do storytelling with Tony Cutillo right now, real fast, and this is real. Okay, this is real. So anybody watches this on playback, this is real. Okay, so long time ago, when I first tried to get into the business, okay, I was an avid watcher or avid listener of Johnny Marks and Sean Bryce on 97.5. I was a big Mike Missinelli guy, so I kind of went with Mike Missinelli wherever, right? I followed Mikey Miss. I like Mikey Miss. Again, I know he's not everybody's cup of tea. I know everybody, but I did. So when Sean and John got their own show, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I listened every day. Every day. And then Sean Bryce got let go by 97.5, the Fanatic, and he started his own thing called PhillyInfluencer.com. So I happened to be in a car one day, and I was I think it was at a Starbucks, and I was scrolling through my phone, and I followed PhillyInfluencer.com, and it said they were looking for some people, right? So when they said they were looking for some people, I applied. So I applied to the ad, which was obviously Sean, and set up a phone call. And at that time, Sean said, I want you to be my fantasy guy. Now, I want to be a Philly radio guy, right? But he said, I want you to be my fantasy guy. At that time, fantasy was just getting big. And obviously, you guys know that's how I got my start on Sirius. So obviously, he was on to something, right? He definitely was on to something. So I accepted the role at PhillyInfluence.com as their fantasy guy. But then it kind of spiraled out from fantasy to local topics, and we did PI Live, we did shows, and we had a good time, right? We had a good time. And then Sean kept saying, yo, we're gonna get this thing, we're gonna get this thing, we're gonna get this thing, we're gonna get the station, we're gonna get the station, we're gonna get the station. And he said it's gonna be a radio station. And I said, okay. And he said, it's gonna be Fox Sports, the Gambler. That's what's going to be called. It's going to be on this station out in Trenton, and it's going to be through iHeart. We're going to stream it. Like, it was this whole kick and caboodle, right? This whole plan. So, long story short, okay, that allowed me to get to a certain point. But the reason why I tell this story, and I will tell you how it ended. The reason why I tell the story was because I always played the cards the right way because I had a goal in mind of where I wanted to go. At the time, that's where I thought I wanted to go, put it that way. So I'll never forget this, okay? I'll never forget this moment. So at the time, I was we transitioned to the radio station, Fox Sports The Gambler. Obviously, you can still hear it right now. I still, some of them guys over there, I'm still cool with. Okay. Comes out. I'm going to be their fantasy guy. They get me a segment. They tell me it's a paid segment. Never saw a dime for it. Never got paid from it. Even though somebody got paid, wasn't me. Right. By Bernie Robbins Jewelers. You can go check it. It's called the Fantasy Fix. Right. I spent a lot of time on it. What I would do is I would record. It was a pre-recorded segment where they would play every single day. Right? Every single day in the 4 o'clock hour, it would lead in with my fantasy fix. They would lead me in, they would play it, right? I was like, cool. I got a sponsorship. I got a sponsorship. I never saw a dime from it. Never saw a dime, but I was told I got a sponsorship, right? So I had it. I worked my balls off for it. Okay. The thing I'm telling the story for is because I told you how this story started. I started listening to Johnny Marks and Sean Bryce. and I was always a Marks and Bryce guy. Well, at the time, Marks was on 94.1. He was on WIP. So Johnny Marks had put out something. I don't know. Maybe it was like Chicky and Pete's. And I said, oh, this is pretty cool. So all I did was I shared it because I like to support people that I respect, and I respect Johnny Marks. So I like to support. So I put it out there. My phone rang instantly, and it was Sean Bryce. And he berated me. Now think about this. He berated me and was screaming at me on the phone and told me, how dare I share out a competition page? Last time I knew, Fox Sports The Gambler wasn't in competition with WIP. Come on, man, give me a break. There's no competition there, okay? But I was screamed at that time and told, how dare I share out something for somebody else? I should be lucky that I have a spot on a prime time spot on an afternoon drive at 4 o'clock. Like, went through this whole, like, berated me up and down, up and down. Again, for a spot I never saw a dime for, by the way. Never saw a dime for. But right then at that time, what did I do? I tucked my tail between my legs like an ass, and that's not the jigsaw way. And I was like, you know what, man? Okay. I guess that's not what you do. I don't think I deserve to be yelled at for it. I didn't deserve to be disrespected. And I still remember that to this day. And it pissed me off. It pissed me off. So at that time, like I said, I always bought in. I always bought in. Well, lo and behold, what happened? I bought in. All the broken promises fell off. They fell off. You're going to have your own show. Never happened. Do this, do that. Never happened. Do this, do that. Never happened. Okay. Eventually, it went away. It was a silent breakup, right? A silent breakup. No words spoken, no nothing. All of a sudden, the phone call stopped. All of a sudden, the text messages stopped. All of a sudden, the like in the post stopped. All of a sudden, everything stopped. Okay? And I tell this story because I like to keep it real. And I tell this story because all the people out there that are grinding, at the end of the day, when your time is up and whoever you're grinding for feels like you're not worth it anymore, they're going to get rid of your ass. Okay? They're going to get rid of your ass quick, real quick. Okay? Especially for me, they're going to go, who's the 25-year-old kid I can get with the 200,000 followers that's going to get all the clicks for me and get all the traffic because I can't get it? Who's going to get me the most downloads on the iHeartRadio app? Who's going to get me the most traction on the iHeartRadio app? Who's going to get the most traction on a YouTube page, right? This is what happens. Listen, sometimes when you're in that role or whatever, you're in a management style role, I get it, man. You do what you got to do. Okay? I'm still a grown man. So at the end of the day, you know, I will never be the guy who doesn't extend the olive branch. That's not me. And honestly, at the end of the day, everybody that was supposed to be the nuts and bolts of the station, they didn't exist anymore. It was all new people. So at that time, I was like, okay. I'm tired now. I'm tired of towing the company line. It got me nowhere. It got me some highlight reels. It got me it got me nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. Yeah. Look, Japan checking in. We want someone that already has a following. So that's my thing. Like, and I understand. I do. I get it. But at the end of the day, it's all about who you engage with, who engages with you, and who follows you for the right reasons. So when I broke it off, and I guess I broke it off. I don't even know what the hell it was, right? It was just broken off. It was like you eventually you see the way everything goes. You could just see the culmination effect of everything, right? And I have so many stories, right? I have so many stories, but it's just not even worth it anymore, right? It's not even worth it anymore. It's okay. It's okay, right? The only time you're good, unfortunately, the only time you're good enough is when you have something to offer, right? What does this guy have to offer? What does he have to offer? Right? Again, it's never for the right reasons, unfortunately, in the radio business. And that really gave me a sour taste in my mouth. It really did. And then what happened was I kind of started doing things on my own, and I parlayed that into an opportunity with Sirius XM on Fantasy Sports Radio. And listen, again, I was in the right place at the right time. I hooked up with a brand called Windale Sports, and I hooked up with a person named Jason Mizrahi, and I met some awesome people. Seeing the job being one of them that I never would have met. My man Sticks Picks, got my man Sticks was great guy, great dude. Never thought I would have met somebody like that would have accepted me, because he just seems like a completely different person than I am. Right. But I met some really cool guys and parlayed that into an opportunity of being able to host on sometimes 3 times a week on national radio. And I fully feel that we got a lot of those opportunities because I was involved. And I don't say that being cocky. I'm very confident in my abilities. And the best thing was about that opportunity was I just was allowed to be me. I was allowed to be Jigsaw. Yeah, there was certain things I couldn't say. Obviously, it's national radio, right? It's national radio. But it's pretty cool when you're going to training and you've never had experience, and you're sitting in a Zoom for Sirius with people like Colleen Wolfe, right? It's like, wow, this is pretty insane. Pretty amazing, man. I'm getting to sit in. These are legends of the industry, in my opinion, right? Jeff Mans or Jeff Ratcliffe, like legends of the industry. So I felt on top of the world that time. Like, I had this golden opportunity. And here's the best part. And again, the reason why I tell these stories is because by being me and being myself, it allowed me to stay on Jacob's list. Okay. And Jacob is the station manager over there at Sirius, a great guy, communicates to this day, always puts me on the top of the list if somebody's looking for a host. And again, that's me being me. I want to give another shout out to my man Justin Emery, Joe Cerullo. Okay, Justin Emery is a guy that he used to be a Philly radio. Okay, he used to be a Philly radio, and he started producing for VSiN, and he did a lot of production work out there for VSiN. And he said, "Look, man," he texted me out of the blue one day. He's like, I've always loved what you do. You interested in being a segment guy for cashing out with Joe Cerullo?" I didn't know who Joe Cerullo was, and I was like, "Sure, man. Let me check it out." So I had I had an audition. What audition is? Hey, hop on. Let's see how the first one goes. We go from there. And after the first one, Joe was like, "But Tony, love the energy. You're bringing the energy. Love the content." Right. Tony Tuesday night on VSiN. Exactly. And if you go on my YouTube channel, okay, if you're subscribed to Tony Cutillo Show on YouTube, you'll see the playlist of all my VSiN opportunities for most of them anyway. Shout out to Adam, the producer, for giving them to me. Okay. But again, I loved it. Was great. And I was able to be me. There was no holdback, right? There was no holdback. But again, there was this thing like, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to do this. And the crazy part was, I felt so much more comfortable. And when you feel more comfortable, the product is even better, right? The product is even better when you feel more comfortable. David Bolesky, great guy too. Deep Dive Dave, you're right, Japan, 100%. But I felt a lot more comfortable. And when I felt comfortable, the content got better. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I stepped back from VSiN. Why? Because I'm fucking old, man. I was tired. Like, I had it. Like, I'm telling you, bro, like, honestly, I was old. I mean, the segments were 12:45 a.m. For me, because it's live at the Circuit Casino. It's right out there in Vegas, so I have to go by the time. It's not on Eastern time, right? So I have to go on their time. So that was late for me. So I was staying up. I was bringing energy, and then what would happen was I would get pumped up by the segment, and it would keep me up, and I couldn't sleep, and then it was just screwing me up. So I was like, unfortunately, I got to give it up. Right? I just said, unfortunately, I got to give it up, which was fine. But the reason why, and now here we are today, where I just said, you know what, I'm gonna start the YouTube channel. I'm gonna do my own thing. Shout out BetQL for bringing me on as one of their guys sponsoring the show, which I love. Again, shout out to Aton Sander. Shout out to Aton for bringing me on the Odd Shopper with his crew and believing in me and giving me some opportunities in front of their main audience, which I'll always be commended for, and I always respect. And listen, to get back to before we get out of here, to get back to the Sean Bryce thing, I'll never not thank him for giving me an opportunity. I just don't agree with how he handled it. I don't agree with some of the decisions that he made. And I'm sure maybe he didn't, not just about me, about other people too. Okay. About other people too. But the one thing that always bothered me, and I think now I look at it, because unfortunately, if you haven't heard, and I just found out today, and I will extend my condolences to him about losing his spot. I found out today that he was let go. He was part of the iHeartRadio cuts, and now Sean Bryce is no longer the director of Fox Sports The Gambler, even though The Gambler will still go on. And I will say, to his benefit, what I will say is, and I said this earlier to my wife, I was like, what sucks is he built that. That was his. And now he's got to go. And now he's got to watch it continue, even though it wasn't like he was a radio host being laid off. He was the director, but he was the orchestrator of that entire thing. Whether I agree with his decisions or not, I think he screwed up when he let guys like me go and guys like Drum go and Javon. I fully believe that he screwed that up. Okay? I will. But again, in my opinion, what happens is when you're not yourself, you get burnt. And the reason why I say this, and Lori, thanks for continuing to listen and checking in. And Japan, I know you're still there. Thank you for checking in. And I get long-winded, but this is me. This is like story time with Tony. Okay. This is just me, story time with Tony here. I'm being fully trans. It's the only way I know how to be, man. Because people ask me, and I don't like the cryptic tweet. I don't like to do any of that. I'm being straight up honest. I don't think I know everybody's replaceable. I get it. It just sucks because I know for a fact, and I don't care to air this out. Like, one thing he always said to me was, yeah, do whatever you want, just none of that cross and broad stuff. That's what you say to me. But all of a sudden, then he was collaborating with Cross and Broad. All of a sudden, he was collaborating with Cross and Broad. Now, to his benefit, it may have been after Kyle Scott sold it. I don't know. Maybe he just didn't have it in with Kyle Scott. The other thing was, he used to say, and I'm going to say it, I'll be honest. Oh, man, I cringe every time Natalie Eganoff comes on, because she would run ads on The Gambler at that time. And when I was a student, that's what he would say. And all of a sudden, oh, Natalie, can't wait to get you on the show. We got Natalie here. However, the reason why I bring this up is because I know he probably won't say it. And I know it's probably because he was the program director. They told him, this is what you need to do because she's an iHeart employee. And even if he wasn't a fan, he had to swallow his pride and do what he needed to do. And unfortunately, at the end of the day, it bit him in the ass, and look where he's at. And again, I don't have a problem with Natalie Eganoff or nothing like that. I'm just telling you a story. Like, it's not my story. They're not my words. I'm just telling you exactly what happened, right? Exactly what happened. Lori says the things that Lindsay and I implemented in Clearwater are still going strong. Now we go to the ballpark and watch our stuff thrive, and no one knows. And that's the thing, right? That's the thing. when you really in this business, in this crazy friggin' business, the one thing that you have to do is you have to be yourself. Because when everything goes away, when people say it's replaceable, when people say it goes away, what happens is you're left with nothing. You're left with nothing. And then you have to rebuild. So again, that's the story. You want to know about that's the story, man. And I got other stories too. So there'll be more story time on the next episode, right? Because there's a lot of other people out there that have blocked me. There's a lot of other people that have said things about me, right? But it's okay, right? It's okay. Because I am an open book, right? I am an open book. Like, again, all the stuff that I said about here's one thing, Japan. And he says, great, so I appreciate it. Here's one thing. One thing I've always said. I don't worry about what people think. Okay. And if I let's just play this in here. Okay. So Japan, Lori, Adam. Like, if I called up Japan tonight and I said something about Lori, it's not nothing that I would never say to Lori to her face. And I'm being honest. Like, there's a couple people that I said things to about Sean when that was going on that I would say to Sean. I just didn't have the opportunity to do it. I don't mind. Like, that's the thing, because it's real. Like, I don't beat around the bush, man. Like, honestly, I don't beat around the bush. Like, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I should be on Sirius. I should be on Sunday nights. I should be. I have a more listenable product than other people that are on there. But again, that's not knocking them. I just think that I'm different, right? I just think that eventually when you get a bunch of people that all fall in the same line, eventually you want something a little different. That's just my opinion, okay? That's just my opinion. However, just like Rob Thomson, that's my opinion on why they need a different person, because everybody else just falls in line. So that's what happens here in the radio business. That's what happens, man. Tony does numbers, real talk. Listen, man, that's just who I am. That's just who I am. Why don't you change your language to I will be? Hey, you know what, Lori, you sound like my therapist, right? You say like you sound no, like it's funny. Lori, it's one of those things that yeah, absolutely. However, there's so many different dynamics about it. So all I will say is there's things in the background that I don't talk about. And what it is structure about how I'm going to get to where I want to get to. Right? It's all about structure, about how I want to get to where I want to get to. So yes, the plan is in motion, put that way. The plans are in motion, but it's, how do I want to get to that point? Right? Because this time, Lori, the way this is going to work is, yes, you will hear me on there again one day. Yes, I promise you. I promise you. Whether it's for a different company, whether it's for myself, it doesn't matter. You will hear me on there. Believe me. And I fully believe that there's going to be somehow, some way that you will hear me on Affilio radio airwaves one day. I'll tell you that. I'm going to be honest with you. I feel that my bones, right? I feel that my bones. Oh, but on my terms, right? But on my terms. Japan checking in says 306 left. Bears has got the ball on a fumble, and oh my god! Look at that. Can he bring them back? Oh man, can Caleb Williams bring them back? Yes, 100%. Japan says, I'll be listening. So here's the deal. Ricky says, Tony, how about them? Oh man, those Mariners, Ricky, I like the Mariners, man. I love the way they're made up. But this is what I'm going to say. Here's my challenge to everybody. And I continue to say it. So the only way I get to that point, the only way I get to that opportunity is I continue to do this and I continue to get you all support, which you constantly do. But I want you guys to make a deal, guys and girls with me, that when I do get on, okay, when I come out, whether it be a month, whether it be 6 months, whether it be a year, and I say news, I've accepted a show or an opportunity with this station or this network, and hear that you guys and girls are going to call in. So I need to know that you guys and girls are going to call in. So when I start putting them numbers out and I start saying, yo, they need to see that Jigsaw's got a following, that Jigsaw's got some traffic, that he's going to get an audience. I need you peeps to be there. I say that laughing because I know you will be. Okay. So I know you will be, which is cool. And again, this is the way this works, right? Japan, I know. And brother, I'm gonna tell you something right now. As God is my witness, okay? I'm gonna tell you something right now. You know this, man, because you've ridden with me from day one, and you roll with me all over. Whether it was Pike's Pub, whether it was on Sirius, whatever it is, I gave you your opportunity. I made sure that you had your airtime. I made sure you got your name out there, and I will continue to do that, bro. Continue to do that. You will have your own time with me. I promise you, bro. I promise you. Okay. I don't forget people, dog. I don't forget. I don't leave people behind. I don't forget people. That's all I know is I have a very good memory of people that rode with me from day one. Okay. Very, very good memory. Rich Drummond. Okay. My man Rich, my man Japan, Adam, you guys always roll with me. Lori, you're a new one. You're a new one coming in, man. You're a new one coming in, but it's cool. You ride it with me, which is cool. Okay. There's a lot of people. Okay. It's a really good list. I'm very proud to have it. Okay. I'm very, very proud to have it. But what you can do right now, the best thing you do is hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell. Okay. Make sure you get involved. Make sure you continue. And again, continue to support. We're going to continue to keep doing this because I'm telling you right now, when I get that media reel together, okay, it's going to be like one of those opportunities where I'm a big music guy. I'm a big music guy. I love hip hop, right? I love it. One of my favorite movies of all time is Brown Sugar. I love Brown Sugar. It's one of my favorite movies. I love it. And I remember to this day, okay, where Tay Diggs has the demo of Mos Def, okay? And he says, no. He walks into that office, okay? He walks into that office and says, no, you're going to play this right now. You're going to play this right now. And he says, I'm going to sit here until you play it, okay? And once they hear it, they go, damn, who is that? And that was Mos Def dropping those bars, and the rest is history. So I'm going to get that reel together. I'm gonna send that shit to every goddamn radio station, every network, everywhere, man. Everywhere. So there's my man. And here's another one. Okay. Here's another one. And Javon, I don't know if you were listening. Okay. I don't know if you just joining, bro. I don't know if you just joining, but if you are, I want you to go back when we're done. And I want you to rewind about a half hour. And I think you're gonna understand everything I talked about because I told what I told, I said what I said, and again, just so everybody has awareness. But Javon's been another day one. Javon should have more opportunities than he does. But unfortunately, what happens is when you're guys like us, you're guys like Javon, okay, who gets a bunch of broken promises from people. He gets involved with people who are selling them because they sold me too. Okay, they sold me too. And then when the opportunity's there, they know where to be found. They're nowhere to be found. Why? Oh, because you only have X amount of followers, because you don't have this, you don't have that. Well, I will tell you right now, and I'm telling you on the stream because this is how I roll, baby. It's how I roll. Javon is another one. So when I'm on Sirius again, when I got my spot, okay, when I'm on another network and I got my spot, when I'm back, baby, whether it be VSiN, whether it be Sirius, whether it be radio, Javon's getting a spot too. Okay, I'm right now. Javon's getting a spot too. Okay, because that's the thing, man. That's the thing. Like people too quickly forget Forget. They get all big. Okay, exactly. When? See when, Laura. You're right. And Javon will watch and follow since the shows were doing. He remembers the fancy firebox. That's where the FFVP came from. He was always in there. He was all. I've had him join me. I've had him calling in wherever I could, and I will continue to do that because again, another talented person that deserves an opportunity. Okay, another talented person that deserves an opportunity. See, the problem is nobody takes the time to realize it. Nobody takes the time to realize it, right? We are a quick hitting society. That's what we are. We are a quick hitting society. We see something and we hit and we go. We see something, we hit, we go. Whether it's watch, whether it's hit like, whether it's hit share, that's all we do. We don't even really dive into what we're talking about. We really don't even dive into the talent. No idea. But not to art. Listen, unfortunately, what has happened is hold on, I gotta text my my buddy here. We got a live check from the Sun where I'm taking a spot. He wants me to know if I can make his lunch for tomorrow. So AJ, I got you, brother. I'm gonna make it. What's AJ want me to pack? Just wants me to pack up some grapes, some Cape Cod chips, a banana, and a yogurt. My man's on a health kick right now. So I got you, AJ. I got you. When it's done, I got you 100%. So what happens is, unfortunately, it's everybody's running, get the next big thing because, terrestrial radio is dying. Okay, it is. Everybody's flipping over to the podcasting, the social media. However, everybody wants to be the first, right? Everybody wants to be the first to do it. Everybody wants to be the first to do it. Okay. Japan. I'm going to get to that in a minute. Everybody wants to be the first to do it. And when they're not, they feel like they're in a race to get to the next point, the next rung of the ladder, right? So, unfortunately, that's the society that you live in. It is. But here's the thing. I'm at the age right now. I look at myself as guys like Rob Ellis, who's one of my faves. Okay. Like I look at Rob and I go, okay, I know Rob. Rob's saying, you know what? They still have their gigs. They're full or at least they're part-time. And this is that, obviously they're not doing this 100% full-time. I'm at that point. Like, I don't want to be a full-time radio guy. I don't. I really don't. I don't. I never did. All I said was, I've said this from day one. Give me a Sunday night show. Give me a spot, 9 to 11. Give me a 2 to 3 a spot, 11 to 1, whatever it is. I'm your guy. I don't want to be afternoon drive. I don't want to be morning show. All right. I don't want to be early. I don't want to be that. I want to be late nights. That's what I want to be. I don't want to be overnights. I want to be late nights. That's what I want to be. I'm right in that. That's my direction right there. I want to be late nights. Okay. That's what I want to do. I know. And I know I can do it because nobody wants to be late nights. Right. Nobody wants to be late nights. So I have that. I know I can get that opportunity. I know I can. So when I do, and when I get that opportunity, everybody's coming with me. 100%. Japan says, don't forget the napkin and the note. And he's talking about brown sugar right there. He's talking about brown sugar. I love it. See, brown sugar is one of my favorite movies. Sidney Shaw, right? He was trying to get that date with Sidney Shaw when I fell in love with hip hop. See, I'm a big hip hop guy. I can't wait to have hip hop shows and talk about hip hop. I'm a big guy that goes back and watches the reruns of the BET Awards and the Hip Hop Awards because I love watching the performances. It's amazing. I love watching the medleys. I love it. I was just watching the other day the So Def where with Jermaine Dupri where he had everybody, man. Jermaine Dupri, JD, shout out Jermaine Dupri. That's my shit right there. Okay, that's my shit 100%. Tony, I do get it, Japan. You know that. I do get it. And it's just crazy to me because I think that there's a world where everybody can coexist. I do. I think everybody can coexist, right? When you do pop culture, you have to bring Sia, man. Man, listen, Sia again. Sia is great too, man. Like, and God bless him. Like, see, Sia is doing what I wasn't willing to do. Sia is doing what I wasn't willing to do, and I have no regrets, right? But when I got into this, I always said that I want to make this on me, right? I want to make this on my own. And I want to make my own path. And I don't want to sacrifice because I'm not 25 years old anymore. That's when you sacrifice. Okay. I'm an older man right now. Midlife crisis, right? I'm not willing to sacrifice certain things because I don't have to at this stage of the career. Right? I don't have to, and I won't. So when I had a few of the opportunities that came around, and that's why I respect Johnny Marks, because if you remember, the reason why Johnny Marks walked away is because he didn't want to do afternoon drive anymore because he knew that he was going to miss his kid's school, he was going to miss the sports, he was going to miss all that stuff as a dad that you don't want to miss. And I'm being fully transparent here that I did get one opportunity, and that opportunity was going to be on Saturdays at the casino, at parks, every Saturday. Okay, every Saturday, but it was going to be a day from about 11 till 4. I couldn't do it. I said no. Why did I say no? You don't know why I said no? Why I said no? Well, I said no because I would have had to give up all my kids' sports. I would have had to give up coaching. I would have never seen the kids play. I wasn't willing to do that. I chose my kids, man. I chose my kids. And Johnny Marks chose his kids too. So everybody that says, "Oh, well, he lied." No, he didn't lie. He's not on afternoon drive. He's on middays. He still gets to be home in time to see his kids. Think about that. He still gets to be home in time to see his kids. So, again, I don't regret it, but now's a different time. Now they're older. Now they're doing their own thing. Now I have time. And the worst thing I could say is to give Jigsaw time. Because when Jigsaw has time, Jigsaw produces and Jigsaw comes through. So that's where I'm at. I'm going to get out of here. That's the story. I'm sticking to it. I appreciate everybody riding with me. And Lori, yes, when I get on the air on a station, when I get back on the air on a station, yes, you are all coming with me for sure. Yep. And Japan, I get it. I've been there, man. I get it 100%. I've been there for sure. But you're doing what you got to do to pay the bills and support your family. And that's what I respect. I did it for years. You think I wanted to work in a chemical plant, working 28, 16 to 18-hour shifts, overnights? No way. Hell no. I freaking hated that shit, man. But it paid the bills. It supported the family, right? Support the family. So I got to the point where I didn't have to do that anymore. But I did it when I had to do it, man. And I don't regret it. Did what I had to do. And now I'm doing what I got to do now. So everybody, listen, I'm going to get out of here. Everybody, I appreciate, as always, if you're watching this on replay, make sure you check in the comments. Let me know what you're thinking about the Rob Thomson situation. And again, I'm an open book. You want to talk about life, you want to talk about music, you want to talk about sports, let's go. Let's get it. 100%. I'll be back tomorrow night for the Alternative Edge, where we do the rewind and look ahead when it comes to fantasy football and sports betting for BetQL. I got, again, Fighting for Overtime, the podcast. Make sure you check it out. Make sure you go follow it. Drop me a review on iTunes if you have an iTunes account. Let me know what you like about it. Got the award-winning championship coach Mike McDonald from Archbishop Wood coming on tomorrow night. I can't wait for that as well. It's a pre-record, so yes, I'm not doing multiple things. But again, as always, like I say, thank you very much. Everybody have a great evening. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll catch you back here next.
Yeah.